very different from conventional financial planning tools, even the web-based. Almost entire functionality for a user. 90% of what he needs to do is on this one single screen through just different panels and tabs. First thing I want to confirm with Annie, I don't know what kind of a screen size you are on at this time. Is the font too small for you? Shall I increase it a little more?
No, it's fine.
Great. So what we have on the screen is there are different panels. We have all the clients, which we call as households here, where you can select a household that you want to work on, and rest of the panels kind of are linked to that. So when you move to Jones family, this panel for household members, plans, and everything else changes. I would go back to Brady, so the Brady changes, and we've got a different set of parameters. Highly responsive application works instantly, one. Second thing is that all the various panels that we have here are organized as mini worksheets. So you can enter rows here by clicking a plus button. If you want to edit a row, you select that row and press the pencil icon to change the Social Security for Lisa Brady. Or you can delete a row by pressing the minus icon, and you can keep on like incoming cash flows like pension, rent. You can keep on adding things here, more and more cash flows that you have of different type in this panel. And we kept it closer to a worksheet because that is one tool that most advisors are very, very comfortable with. So that's one. The second thing we wanted to, as I was saying earlier, keep all the functionality reachable within a single to maximum of 3 clicks. So most of the functionality, you can create a plan, you can create a lot of things, most like within 1 and generally 2 clicks. Sometimes you need to go up to 3 clicks if you're going to capital market assumptions and changing a few things. But otherwise, within 1 or 2 clicks, you can get what you want done. The layout is flexible, where you can close panels when you don't need them and open them, and even fold the left side completely if you're working just on the plan. So that's just a background about the user interface, and with that, I will jump into the actual case study that I'll use for the demonstration. In the case study that I'm going to use, and this is also on our website, and he is the Brady family, and in this case study, they are a 66-year-old couple, and they are struggling with the same set of decisions that every retiree typically comes in. We are retiring now. Shall we take Social Security now? Shall we defer it? And shall we buy some annuities, and what type? So what we will demonstrate in this case study are actually two, three different plans. The first one, what we call as a base plan, is basically, you know what, take your Social Security now, just rely on a systematic withdrawal portfolio. Then we run different type of, 2 different plans where we change the strategy, and that is demonstrated in this exhibit where you're deferring the Social Security claim up to 70 years of age, and we're going to use a tips-based ladder to lock in the cash flow exactly the same as Social Security would have given, if not, so what the Social Security would begin at 70, same cash flow, locked from the U.S. government, inflation adjusted. So this is the floor that gets created, one part of the floor, add some single premium immediate annuity, buy a little bit of it, which with pension gives us a higher floor, and even look at buying a variable annuity with some guaranteed minimum income benefit, which kicks in after 10 years, which gives us higher floor as we age and our medical expenses for Brady's become higher with higher out-of-pocket expenses as they get older beyond their mid-70s. So with that kind of strategies, we'll run different plans. That is what I will demonstrate in the case. Any questions at this point, Andy, before I go ahead and start running this case in the tool?
Where is the rest of the portfolio? You've got bonds, you've got SPIAs. Where is the participation in the stock market.
Yeah, so that's a systematic withdrawal portfolio. So this is income being shown over time. So systematic withdrawal portfolio gets invested in a typical model allocation of stock and bond funds and any kind of typical conventional investment portfolio. So that's called the systematic withdrawal portfolio.
And is this graphic, does this represent asset allocation or income source? It's total income it's representing.
Yes, it's an income source over time.
Yes. Okay.
Great. And you will see this more, the actual cash flow source, more accurate graph when we run the plan in the report, and I'll show you that later on. So now, coming back to the case, I've had most of the data set up to save some time, where I've created the Peter and Lisa Brady as household members, and the fact that if they claim their Social Security benefit now, they will get at 66, actually now is when they retire in year 2014, January, they will get $2,000 and $2,500 respectively. And the fact that these are based on their own earnings, and there's a significance of that, I'll show you in a little while. If it was spousal earning, as you know, that if you defer the claim age, income discovery models the rules for adjusting the benefit amount up based on deferral, and those rules and the increments are different if it is based on your own earnings or it is spousal earnings. And of course, if it's spousal, you can't defer beyond your full retirement age. So all those rules come into play. That is why we also configure whether this benefit is based on own and spousal earnings. Then we have a small pension for them, which is a lifetime cash flow. It could have been used to model any type of limited cash flow. Suppose they sell a home and they get home equity 5 years down the line, so you will configure that as 2019, certain cash flow coming in only for 1 year. And if at all they have any type of inflation adjustment, like if pension has a COLA, that could have been modeled here as well. Then they have about $800,000 in total assets across all their accounts. And this is what you realize, that we're trying to make the application very simple and fast to use. So we have two modes of the app. We are currently working in the mode where taxes are ignored. And there is a mode which I will show later where we can move to taxes. And if you want to run a simple analysis for prospecting or having the first meeting with the client to really find out a strategy to use for Social Security and annuities, we do not have to get into the complexity of taxes. So that's why you have a much simpler user interface. We don't need to go into, where is this $800,000 between your IRA, Roth, and taxable account. We just say, here's the total money you have. And based upon some average 10-15% effective tax rate, we'll put some pre-tax income that we should get. Let's run our first analysis and figure out what is right for you. And then we go into the details. And for Brady's, we have configured, and I'm going to edit this so you can see this, we have configured a 13 years of planning horizon. What you can also see is that for every field, if they have a question, they can put their mouse over it, which has a lot more information about the field. And if they still have questions, we tell them to refer to one of the knowledge-based articles, and I will show you an article for especially determining what should be the planning horizon. So we have a knowledge-based article in our called Income Parameters, and actually I have it already open here, so I'm going to show it to you. This is our knowledge base where we have a product guide, and this is the Income Parameters article. And why I wanted to show you that is that we show them the lifespan table based on Social Security period life table as to a 65-year-old, what's their 90th percentile lifespan. So they can look at this and decide what do they want to use. We are using 30 years because we want to plan for Lisa to live up to her 90th percentile lifespan, which is going to be 96 years of age. And this is a searchable knowledge base where you can search through any articles besides the product guide. There is also a lot of articles on strategies which we are enriching on what works, what doesn't, and obviously there's a whole ticketing system where they can submit requests and it's ticketed, et cetera, et cetera. So all that capability and support behind the product is there. Now, last thing is the capital market assumptions, and what I did not even show you till now, Andy, is that there is another way, a lot more efficient way to edit the data, which is you just double-click a row, and this opens up like a worksheet where you can just tab through the fields, tab back and forth like as if you're in Excel, and once you're done, you simply press enter. I could have used different set of assumptions which can all be configured by the advisor on their own. We give them low return, moderate inflation, all the way to medium return and high inflation scenarios, and even historical scenario sets, which are basically historical sequence of data on the Ibbotson, from Ibbotson Classic Yearbook. So I'm going to leave this at moderate inflation and just press enter, and that saves the data. Now the second thing about Brady's, and this is true with most households, is even though as they get older, their medical expenses, etc., will go a little bit higher, but a lot of their discretionary spending that they will do in the next first 10 to 15 years of retirement will slow down, and that's going to disappear. So after we use this income phases capability to change their income, retirement income total need over time, decreasing it by about 10% once they get into their 80s. So that is the first basic data we have, and then we're all set now to at least run our first plan, which is going to not have any type of annuity or a bond ladder. And based upon the risk profile for Brady's, we will put them in a conservative inflation-protected portfolio. And this is what I was saying while the Social Security, the benefits are configured with age, etc., is that while we are running the plan, we can change the strategy of the Social Security claim. I could make it, as I will see later, make it 70 years of age. But currently I'll keep the same. Do not use any ladder, any type of annuity, and let's see how this plan does. Now, one thing, Eddie, you would have noticed is we got a response pretty fast within a second or so. And we are running a full Monte Carlo simulation with 1,000 different scenario paths, but our background, especially our team's background from Wall Street and global risk technology and all of that technology to do enterprise risk systems, what my team has learned over the last over our decade experience in Wall Street is how to really run simulation efficiently. And that comes in handy, as I'll show you later, that we can do optimization through some strategies even while simulating them through 1,000 different scenario paths of 30 odd years. But now coming back from technology to the actual functionality is now we see how this strategy would have done. And the strategy is to claim Social Security at 66, use a conservative inflation-protected portfolio in a systematic withdrawal manner, and we want to have $100,000 of income, but what is the risk for that? And one thing to notice here, Annie, is you do not see the words probability of success. And there are strong reasons on our side why the word probability doesn't appear, why the word success doesn't appear. And that is in one of our article in our knowledge base, which is linked. But let me explain you briefly. We believe, and this is not RIAS, we are just implementing the behavioral finance research, which in a nutshell says that when we talk about the word probability, and when we present it as a probability as a percentage versus when you present the same data as a frequency, which is 1,000 retirees, how many out of that? Mathematically they are same, but psychologically they are very, very different. And the key difference is probability of success is some future thing that can happen, may not happen, and when you think of probability, you may think of cards, roulette wheel, you may think of various different associative memory, but when we are talking about frequency, and let's see how we're talking about it. We're saying what out of 1,000 retirees, 660 of them got full income over the plan, and 340 of them got partial income for some years in the plan. Now, that means that when the data is presented like this, what behavioral finance research tells us is that people now start visualizing a room full of 1,000 people, and then they segregate the retirees. They will segregate them into one group of 660 who got full income and 340 in another corner that got partial income. The way they interpret this data is very different the way based on the presentation, and that is the way we want them to interpret. They should understand what it means, that there is a possibility now they can belong to that group of 340, and these are people, real people that the real situation that can happen to them. And now secondly, why the word success doesn't exist is you got partial income. It may not be a success or a failure depending upon the floor that you have built using annuity, Social Security, etc. You may still get certain, like in this case, we present to them an unfortunate retiree, one of those retirees who has partial income, really looking at the tail side. Now, going back to the math side of it, if you want to know, looking at the 98th percentile, like the guy who really took the brunt of the market and inflation, what was his situation? He received 17 years of full income out of a 30-year plan that we did, with a 30-year plan, and for the remaining 13 years, he had 65% of the income that he wanted. Not terribly bad, but not too good either, and we'll improve that. But that gives him a flavor. You know what? Fine. 660 of my peers will get full income. 340 of them get partial income. Even the most unfortunate retiree in that set will at least have 65% income to live on after in the last 13 years when the portfolio exhausts. So that's the presentation. We also present a secondary reward, the average legacy that Brady's will be able to leave behind of $188,000. Now comes the question, and how can we improve
the unfortunate, I'm sorry, Manish, the unfortunate retiree is actually the most unfortunate retiree in the group, correct?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to make sure I understood that. Thanks.
Yep. And what we, although we verbally say it as most, we do not mention that as most, in that purely from a compliance perspective and FINRA review, right? We can't really say, you know what, this is the worst case that you can have, because we never know in future. But verbally, the advisor would at least communicate that this is one of what we believe the worst situation that can happen. Now, the second thing, and I use this button to run one of the plans. You can run a plan using the plus icon here. It's the same thing, just offer two icons to make it convenient to do the action that you want to do. So we're going to run a smart plan now, one of our smart plans. We say that we will defer the claim to 70 years of age, and I'm going to even defer Lisa's claim to 70 years of age. We'll use a bond ladder to fill in for Social Security, and I'll show you that how we configure it in a little while. We're going to buy an immediate annuity with a 3% COLA and move about 10% of the assets there. And we'll buy a variable annuity with a GMIB benefit, and how we configure it I'll show in a little while. We move 10% of the assets into that, and let's see how that strategy does. And to help you compare it better, like as you're working, you may decide, what, I just want to look at a plan. I close the income strategy options panel for now. So let's look at what we did. By just doing a smarter income plan, see the impact that we have had on the risk. We've got, instead of 660 retirees, we almost have 909 retirees now getting full income over the plan. And only 91 of those 1,000 retirees really have partial income. And even the most unfortunate retiree situation got improved quite a bit. We've got 21 years of full income in that situation, and for the which is another 4 years of full income. But after that, the floor that we have built with our annuities is going to give almost 93% of the income that they wanted. So it's only 7% shortfall, which is not too bad for a most unfortunate situation. It's pretty good. And all we had to do was just take Social Security later and use our 3 strategies of a bond ladder and 2 different types of annuities. And while we reduced the risk, we even bumped up the legacy that they can leave behind. Now, conventionally, as you know, right, and this is one of the things that I wrote in my JFP paper also, is it is not necessary that buying annuity will lead to lesser legacy. I mean, if you die in the next 5-7 years, of course you put some money away if you don't have a certain period in that. But looking at your whole, if you're planning for 20, 25, 30 years, the annuities, since they will keep on giving you that cash flow, they can even release your investment portfolio. Like in this case, you're not dependent upon systematic withdrawal portfolio a lot. Once the VA GMIB kicks in and other annuities are already there, you can let your investment portfolio grow and you can pass on more. And that's also another article I wrote on advisor perspectives, which is also linked from our, as to why it is highly recommended that people do not self-insure at least beyond 85. So this is one of the articles that I wrote before last year's SPA retreat when I was talking there. I'd even recommend you to read this offline if you wanted to. So you can increase legacy. It's not necessary, and that's the point that I made in that article. Why is that the case? Now, since we've got so little risk and we've got 90%, and another thing is, and this is why we eliminated probability of success, is when you've got 90% of your income already covered in the last phase of retirement, you don't really that much care even that much of if you get full or partial income. You could even withdraw more. So he may say, you know what, I want to have more income that I've wanted. So let's say if you make our income is $103,000, we keep the same strategy and let's see how that does. And we'll get the results. So we see, you know what, using this strategy, we increased and we, although our number of retirees getting full income reduced somewhere close to what we had before, but we still have 82% of the coverage that we need even in the most unfortunate situation. And the retiree may be comfortable with that. And I want to take more, and if things do not turn out bad, at least I've covered myself for what I want in the last phase of my retirement. And now once we have these plans on the table, now of course you can look at the cash flows, etc. on screen, which I'll show you here, and I want to move on to the report. You can look at a lot of details about the plan, including nominal cash flows or real, which is basically real means in today's dollars terms, or you can look at them with nominal, with inflation, and also bond ladder composition. So it shows how we're getting the $100,000 we want. Initially, we get our bond ladder to give us close to $72,000, and once Social Security kicks in, that gives us 72. You got a small pension, a small immediate annuity, and available annuity with GMIB kicking here. And this is going to be in the report too, in cash flow in a chart form. The client can see the benefit of VA GMIB, that your contract would have, your portfolio would have exhausted in the VA by the time you're 84, but you'll still collect your benefits because you paid this rider fee of $1,000 for a period of 15 years. So you paid this to guarantee that you keep on getting this income if the portfolio doesn't perform well. And we show them the bond ladder composition, saying, here are the tips you would need to buy. Here are the Q sets, their maturity date, coupon, etc. And you buy 56, 59, 62 of these, put up this much money, and you're good to go. And you've locked in $72,000 of cash flow for 3 years, which could have been anything, could have been a 5-7 year, any period you define. And also look at the same thing in nominal terms, how it is Social Security increases nominally with inflation, etc. Now, coming out of here, now we want to take this result to the client. We will arrange the plans in the order that we want to present. We want to present it to them. And this is our recommended plan to him. And if it is, we simply take it and click and drag it to the top. And this is our second plan that we want to show them. And this is our base plan on which we're showing how we are improving the performance for your plan and how we are able to, through better income strategies, get you not only the income that you want at completely no risk, and even get you more at acceptable level of risk with the floor that is being built, etc., etc. So the advisor is now ready to have the conversation and present to him. Now this all we looked at was pretty much an advisor view. Now we go to a client view where he's got a report that he can present which has an executive summary, an analysis overview chapter, all the assumptions, comparison of the plan in a detailed way. But let me begin with the executive summary, which shows the same data that we had in the plans panel in graphical format compared side to side, how retirees with full income, they are between 660 to all the way to 900 out of 1,000, years of full income for the most unfortunate retiree case, and income in the shortfall years going all the way to 80% if you take higher income, or even 90% if you don't. And then showing your income versus legacy trade-off, how you take more income, your legacy reduces a little bit, and by a smarter plan, your legacy is even higher, even though you use some annuities. So in this case, show the portfolio allocation between the base plan, nothing was used but a systematic withdrawal portfolio. In the other cases, we moved some amount of money into a variable annuity, an immediate income annuity, and a bond ladder, and summarizing what kind of Social Security claim strategy and variable annuity model and systematic withdrawal model that we used. So this 2 pages up front are the executive summary to have the conversation with the client, and then of course follows are the charts, cash flow charts, which are source of cash flow in nominal terms, how you get the $100,000 inflation adjusted over time. You take bond ladder to give you the cash flow for 3 years. Social Security kicks in at 70, pension, immediate annuity, the VA GMIB, and then you're dependent less and less on your systematic withdrawal portfolio. Same thing in real terms, because you can't really see with inflation what the money is worth. So you see what is it worth in today's dollars in cash flow. And of course, there's an analysis overview which shows them what type of strategies are being used, some pictures, some explanation, what is a bond ladder, how we are using bonds held to maturity to give you the cash flow from the coupon and the principal maturing, mix of that. And our system creates the number of bonds so you can get a level cash flow that you need. What these metrics are, the shortfall, reward, what years of income for unfortunate retiree, everything is explained, all the assumptions that were used in the plan, all the annuity codes which we did not get into, what the annuity is, what is the payout, the inflation adjustment COLA, the GMIB, what kind of return it has during the 10-year growth phase, and a guaranteed income base 2 times, the fees on the annuity, and payout once they are at 76 years of age. So all that is here, and ultimately the income analysis chapter, which shows all the numbers that we had in the executive summary with all the strategies, the bond ladder composition of what bonds are being bought, the model allocation being used for the systematic withdrawal portfolio, and also one more useful thing we show is in the variable annuity, the guaranteed benefit is going to vary depending upon market returns. So we show if you get below market returns, you get $4,700 in the last year of your plan in today's dollars terms, and that could be worth $2,000 more if you get above average returns. So we know that variation that exists in the variable annuity guaranteed benefit, you can see that whole variation. And of course, in the what's the model allocation being held in the variable annuity, which can be different from the one that you hold in your own portfolio. And the cash flow table that we saw on there, these a lot of times they really want to show the numbers of how the money is coming, and the second plan, third plan, like that, the whole thing. So with that, I'll just take a checkpoint. and let you ask some questions, and then I will go back to the tool to show you some additional capabilities.
The way that you identified the bond ladder, the QSIPs, do you do anything similar to that with the annuity products?
Now, with the annuity products, what we do is the advisor configures the annuity on his own, and to get, so first is the configuration is what type of inflation adjustment you want. Is this immediate or is it a deferred income annuity? In that case, the start year will be in future. The next question is the quotes. Now, there are two options. We have integration with Income Solutions where we can pull in a live quote right now. And I can run it to you and talk about it. So we'll get a joint life annuity quote with 75% survivor benefit. And we're saying, well, go get the quote. Now, what is happening is we're going to Income Solutions. Income Solutions is going to multiple insurance firms behind the scene. And within about 5 seconds, we get the best quote that is available as on today. And you saw it increased by about $6 from my last quote. So this is one way. But if they have their own quote, that the annuity that they want to use based on their carrier, they configure the quote on their own. The payout on their own. So
and
there are
how many?
options.
And what are the different types of annuities where the quote will be built in and integrated with Income Solutions app?
Income Solutions supports primarily single premium immediate annuities with different inflation adjustments. COLA, even CPI, urban inflation index, the government CPI, so all those Income Solutions supports. They do not support deferred income annuities today. So those quotes cannot be obtained till the Income Solutions starts supporting them on their platform, and then we will bring it in.
And how about variables?
In the variable annuity, what happens is we support both GLWB, where you do not have any guaranteed growth rate on the benefit or slash income base, and GMIB, where you have that guaranteed growth compounded every year and something at the end of the growth phase. We support both. And again here, the advisor, since in the usually the payout rate is pretty standard, like 4.5%, 5.5% at ages. So they put in that, and the fee structure varies across. So they just configure the annuity with the component of whether it is 5 or 4%. They configure it on their own based on the product that they have access to.
How about for advisors that are not securities licensed? What would they do? They may want to be able to include some securities type annuities, but they don't have the ability to sell them themselves. Do you have people like that using your product?
No, and that would be, I would believe, mostly would be conventional insurance agents, right? Who typically don't have a securities license. They do only in insurance products.
No, I'm talking about fiduciaries, financial advisors who are not securities licensed. They're registered investment advisors, fee only.
Oh, typical RIAs. So with RIAs, what happens is most of the RIAs on our platform today actually are all use Income Solutions to buy the SPIAs. So they pretty much, the SPIA transaction is handled completely through there. The variable annuities, etc., I think they go in through their conventional, whoever is their broker and custodian, whether Schwab, Fidelity, or TD, or Pershing. So they go through that channel to secure, to make the purchase of their variable annuities. They may not be taking a commission on it, especially the NAPA guys on those products. But they actually, the reason most of them go to Income Solutions is that's their lowest cost option of buying some annuities. And some of the advisors even, I have an advisor based in Arizona who actually gets his clients to buy directly in Vanguard, where Income Solutions platform is available. So his clients go directly buy in there, and he tells them what to do and where to buy.
How many advisors are using this
and he's
now?
an RIA too.
How many advisors are using this?
I've got close to 450 plus now, at this time. And what happened, Andy, was Robert Powell wrote about us in MarketWatch, and that brought us a lot of retail traffic. There are many individual investors who signed up, and I exclude those numbers currently. They just signed up. We tell them it's not available to them, but they just sign up. So, but 450 plus advisors, and we are hopefully by the end of this month, we would have one of our first institutional broker-dealer firm making it available in their branches. We are in the contract stage, negotiating the contract document that I just sent back to them for feedback. So that would be our first institutional client, and plus I've got a couple more things going on where we will probably do something and make it available to a lot of independent BDs through a mass deal that is in progress too.
Who do you see as your biggest competitor in this space?
In the pure retirement income planning space, there are no tools who are directly comparable, right? Wealth 2K is, is time segmentation. I'll show you a time segmentation example later. We support that, but it's completely different. Like we do Monte Carlo simulation, risk. They're only about some constant. And so Wealth 2K is completely different. Looking at retirement income in a very, very different way, not even getting into annuities, social security strategies. The best comparison functionality comes in from a conventional financial planning tool. But they are weak in this space. That's the reason why I started the firm, because they were not tackling the retirement income problem appropriately, whether it is Money Guide Pro, Naviplan, Money Tree. I mean, the conventional financial planning tools used in the independent space, they are there, but nowhere near the functionality that is needed for retirement income with different type of products. And I didn't even get into taxes, which I'll show, or functionality where you can structure some future purchase of immediate annuities. You may not buy anything right now. You may buy $50,000 every 2 years for the next 7 years or 10 years. You can even model that strategy. But for sake of simplicity, I didn't get there, or bond ladder. So nobody is anywhere close to this. So that's the reason why we have at every presentation that we make, people are just awed, and we are moving forward with all our institutional deals, and they have not seen anything like this. Even people who have, I've talked to even wirehouses, Money Guide Pro, Naviplan, they have both, but they are amazed at what we can do.
When you say that the conventional financial planning tools are providing nowhere near the detail needed to do retirement income planning, where are they failing? Where do they miss the mark?
So many aspects. Right? Let's first start with support for annuities, whether immediate or variable annuities, right? Fixed or variable. The support for that is ranging from nil, doesn't exist in some tools, to bare minimum. That's the first part. The second is even besides annuities, if you move into bond ladder, so that's the second part where they don't offer that capability at all. Social Security claim change, right? So if you look here, right, when I moved the Social Security from 66 to 70, I didn't have to know the number. We calculated that Social Security claim. So supporting anything that is needed and supporting Social Security claim as inherent part of our strategy, that's one. And what I didn't go into was in taxes, and of course you can change, you can run the same plan with different capital market assumptions. Or another capability that I haven't shown you is, and let me show you that now, which will also show why they are not providing it. Retirement income needs a lot of optimization. So rather than just doing these strategies one by one, we offer this optimize button, which I just clicked here. And we say, you can say, what I want to look at these 4 portfolios for this client, look at these 2 options for the bond ladder, and for the immediate COLA annuities, look at 3 different options that I've configured for purchase, 3 different options for variable annuity, and just go look at it and tell me which one is going to work out for the client. And we can come back and quickly find an answer. Here's a plan that can give you highest confidence, the plan which will have least shortfall. So it's about optimizing the income that they need so they can even save time and see what works in different type of products. And of course, taxes is another key thing, which I'll even talk about. I'll just go there, which you will see some features. They have nowhere near the feature that we're talking about, especially when you come to taxes. You've got the concept of a withdrawal order. So you can change the withdrawal order in the accounts. You can have different model portfolio in each account, like doing time segmentation like a Wells 2K construct, but doing it under a Monte Carlo simulation-based analysis. You can split these accounts. You can decide to, suppose I'm analyzing the same Peter Brady's case, now I know where $800,000 is. I can choose where I build my ladder, what accounts I'm going to buy my ladder in, what account I'm going to buy my annuity in, immediate and variable annuity purchase. So it's about getting to the guts of building a plan that you're actually going to run trades on and execute, analyzing that plan versus doing a pie-in-the-sky high-level financial plan. That is a key difference. And this came out from one of the Wirehouse guys who said that this is about building an implementation plan for retirement income, not a high-level financial plan.
Now, and talk to me about the cost of your product.
So cost is, we want to be, it's very low. We want to be a dominant platform for income. We just don't want anybody else to exist in that space, and we're going to, that's our intention. So what we're doing for our cost is we're making it very low for adoption. So we offer, you can start with the base version of the product at $29 a month. If you sign up for the annual, or $49 if you keep on paying monthly, which gives you access to all the features which a registered rep would need typically. All the annuities, variables, RIAS, bond ladder, everything. And the only thing that you get in a premium version, which is $99 a month or $79 if you do an annual subscription, is the optimizer button that you saw and all the tax-sensitive analysis, and including creating your own capital market assumption, your own asset class. So I have a lot of sophisticated firms that use their own capital market assumptions coming from dimensional fund advisor, a lot of different places, or future annuities. So this is for mostly for RIAs and many CPA-based advisors. I mean, I have a lot of customers who are CPAs and PFS, and they really, most of them take the premium version, and a typical registered rep takes the base version at $39 a month.
So and wait, so you have a $29 a month, $39 a month, and $79 a month plan.
Yes, 39 and 79. So 39 is base, and premium is almost double of that at $79 a month.
And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom where you talk about the segmented, time segmented, is that, so tell me about that feature.
So that is, which comes in the second case study on Smith, and I'll show you that. Let me show you actually what we are trying to do in that report, in that case. So this is the case that I'll run. So in this case, now we're going to primarily deal with time segmentation, where we've got Robert Smith, a single guy who's got taxable, Roth, and IRA money. First thing you have to figure out is, of course, which order you're going to withdraw in. And you can put Roth earlier. You will always have RMDs from IRA. Or you can decide to, this is again income versus time, you can decide to time segment it. And what you're going to do is you're going to slice your account, taxable and IRA, into two. So we have the first slice in conservative, then second slice in moderate, then IRA first slice in moderate, moderate aggressive, and aggressive. And that is what you can do in the tool and in here, and to kind of save your time running. Right now, this first case is without it, and then I can split here, and I can add a second taxable account where I'll move some of the money, saying if you have $250,000 in this, like that we split, and then we can reorder these accounts based on the withdrawal order that you want. If you want Roth before you move it up, you can change the model allocation, as you saw. So,
yeah, so this is multi-period portfolios.
Yes, multi-period.
And multi-period, yeah, multi-period income streams.
Yes.
Right. And so each period having its own risk and return characteristics.
Precisely.
Yeah, interesting.
And that can give you those strategies, as you can see here, and I'll show you in the executive summary of this report, which is on our website, is it can give you a lot more income. And whatever income you wanted, you can actually, in this case, we are getting $8,000 more income for this gentleman. Here you can see by doing a smart plan, which was same risk, we just do different portfolio allocation for him, and over time, multi-period, and we have pretty much the same risk, and an even higher legacy amount. That they can be much higher legacy by having the last bucket of their portfolio in an aggressive portfolio.
Okay, and I take it this is all web-based.
Everything is web-based. It's all running off in a browser, and you can sign up for it yourself. Just go to our sign-up page, and you can get going right away on using the tool. We use Google account for login, so you can log in and self-register right now. All web-based.
And how does it work for touch?
It does work on iPad, not optimized, but on the Safari browser on iPad, you can use the application by touch, although not optimized. People, advisors use it to run the plans.
Okay.
It works.